Hi, and welcome to Lift Kits and Coffee. My name's Chris. Well, thanks for tuning in today. And well, you probably saw I have this little intro thing going on there, and it's a little iMovie plug-in that I used. So what do you think of that? Maybe you'll say something down in the comments below. So the point of today's video is to deal with a little problem that's come up after I've installed the Freedom Off-Road lift kit, and I've got about 3 inches of lift on the truck, Alfred. And in a previous video I showed where the stabilizer bar comes up to the end link is right next to the shock, and we're going to go over there in a minute and look at that. But the tolerances are just so close that I've been out on some forest roads recently, and when you hit a big rock or drop into a rut, sometimes you get a little bit of a clunk noise. I don't know for sure that it's the Swaybar and tapping on the coilover or something else, but this looks like the most obvious place to try and deal with that. And so what I did was of course, like all of you will probably do, you'll look on the forums and see what other people have done. And that's when I discovered that it's pretty common to have to relocate your sway bar on a 4th gen after doing a lift with coilover replacement. So I jumped on our favorite large online retailer and found a solution out there that'll do it. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you what that kit looks like. But first, let's go over here to the wheel, and I'll just show you the tolerances that I think that we need to fix. Okay, we're at the driver's side, and I've got the wheel off. And you can see the Freedom Off-Road coilover and upper control arm installed there. And but this is where I think that the problem is you can see where the sway bar here passes by the bottom edge of the control or coilover. There's just a really small gap in there. And if I move the camera over here just a little bit, and you can see some lighter color in there, which looks like some scuffing on the paint there. So I think that this is probably, where there's been some taps or some rubs when there's been sort of a sudden shift in the vehicle's geometry because of hitting a more than small bump or hit a rut or something like that. So, but if I go over here, you can see there is the front sway bar bracket, and it's got a bolt there and a bolt there. We're going to take those out, and that's where the relocation kit will go. And what it'll do is it will, I move back here so everything's in focus, it will shift the bracket towards the front of the vehicle roughly about a 1/2 inch. So I think if we can get another 1/2 inch in there, that will probably solve any problem that this might be creating. Now, if there's another issue someplace else, we'll just have to discover that after this. So, but let me take you down here where I've got the relocation kit laid out. This is the way it came. There was a single page of instructions in there that basically say, take your 4 bracket bolts out. These recesses are where the original bolts are going to go back up on the vehicle. So these things will install upside down like this. And and then these 2 forward bolts are where you're going to relocate the bracket to. So you can see we're going to get about a 1/2 inch or so there. And then they did send you hardware for the new mounting points, but you do need to reuse your mounting hardware from the vehicle. So there is some extra bolts in there, but it's not enough to do all of it. So well, the next step is to get on the creeper and get underneath the vehicle and take the sway bar off and put this thing on. Okay, I've got a 14 millimeter socket on an extension down here, and as I've mentioned in the other video, you don't want to use an impact wrench on these. You can easily strip these bolts out there's just a nut up inside the frame that's spot welded there that's the threads you're screwing into. So you don't want to hit that with an impact wrench and lose your nut. Because I did it, and I had to fix it on the other side. When we get over there, I'll show you what I had to do. All right, one side done. Just leave that bushing there. Now we'll have to hold the bar on the other side, and my floor jack is already occupied, so I think I'm gonna tie this bar off with something so that it doesn't just drop. Okay, there's the driver's side brackets off, and I've taken a bungee cord here, and yeah, that's not the best place to do this, but my floor jack is tied up, so I have to use a bungee cord here, and I've got it secured up here so that when I take this other bracket off over here, well, it just won't fall off and hit me in the teeth or something. So, but you can see right here, I have a fresh bolt, and that is because when I took this bracket off to do the lift install, I was using an impact wrench to get these bolts out, and I twisted off that threaded nut inside the frame, and I had to buy a rivet nut tool, which is a handy tool to have, drill it out and put one of those threaded rivets in there, and then a new bolt. So when we take this off, I'll be able to show you that. So, all right, we got that bracket off, and you can see I can just pull this down here, stretch a little bit. But there's the rivet nut that I had to put in, and it's threaded. And because it's got a little flange around here, I use the washer on this mount side just to flush it up. So let's get the offset bracket, and we'll install it here. Oh, this bolt head is bigger. I wonder, this is going to be tricky, how to tighten that guy up, because I know I can't get my socket on it. That's not what you want to see right here. Bracket looks good, but let's see. Is there any chance? No. All right. Well, that stinks. Okay, so here's the screw I'm gonna put in there, and I got some blue thread lock, and I'm just gonna put a liberal amount of that right here, and get some on my shirt, and put the lid on so it doesn't dry out. And gotta make sure the bracket's going the right way here. And let's get it all up in there. Now, sometimes you just gotta get creative. If you're old enough, you might know who MacGyver is, and this is my MacGyver move for the day. All right, I'm gonna go a little bit like this, and go ahead and these bolts started. The torque spec for these bolts is 30 foot-pounds. So once we get them all the way in there, we'll torque those up, because once the bracket's on, you can't touch these bolts. It's the flange is going to go over the sides here. So, but you definitely want to make sure that when you put this on here, the bolts are facing that direction. All right, they're snug. Let me get my torque wrench and get them in there for 30 pounds. All right, let's see, can I get to this guy? All right, 30 pounds. And then the next thing will be to bolt up the new bolts to the bracket. Now, because I had this driver's side wheel off to show you the gap and stuff, actually it changed the geometry so that this side was a little lower, so I had to cut the video and get my floor jack accessible so I could put this wheel up and level the geometry back out. Otherwise, the Swaybar actually had so much flex on it, I couldn't get this to bolt up. So if you can do this without, you either have to take both wheels off or you have to leave both wheels on, but it's not real easy to do this with, oops, one wheel off. Yeah. Torque spec for these bolts, once again, is 30 foot-pounds. And there we go. And all right. So with the other side being exactly the same, this is what it looks like. So let me grab the camera here, maybe give you a little better view. Oops. So you can see how it goes on. You can see the marking there. It says L and then the arrow forward. So definitely want to make sure you got the left on the driver's side and the right on the passenger side. And you can see the double bolt system there. So let me get out from underneath the truck and I'll show you how it changed the gap over there by the coilover. Okay, back out here at the wheel, and there's the installed finished look. You can see the other one peeking out over there, but yeah, it looks good. Nice and shiny bit there. And if we follow it over here to where the problem was, we can see we got a lot of room now. Well, I'm going to say it's about an inch, and I can get almost got a couple fingers in there, but that creates a lot of room for travel. I think that's going to spare my locking collar here on this coilover from getting any more damage or any more scuffing on this bar, which would of course lasted forever. But anyway, so yeah, let me get the camera back on a tripod and we'll do a quick summary. Okay, that about wraps up this video, just a short one. Yeah, a couple things to just keep in mind is that when you go to take the Swaybar off, either you want to take both wheels off and work with the front end lifted, on jack stands and stuff so that the Swaybar is even, or I think you can do this with both of the wheels on, it would still keep the Swaybar even. The point of all that is that if the one wheel, the geometry of one wheel's up and one wheel's down, and the Swaybar's got just even a little bit, like 3/4 of an inch of offset between the sides, when you go to bolt the brackets back up, you're going to find that the long side is going to be difficult to get the bolts to reach. And I sort of discovered that because I took the wheel off to show you the gap over here that I was trying to fix. So anyway, yeah, my name's Chris. I'm a coffee roaster. I roast coffees called Lift Kit Coffee, and the website is liftkitcoffee.com. This is what the product looks like, and roasted this guy on Tuesday, and you can see it's all filled with nice air, which means that the the coffee is fresh. If you're interested in get some, that'd be great. Support the channel. And also, if you feel like it, if you want to subscribe or like or ring the bell and all those things that people ask you to do on YouTube, or mention a comment, I'm sure somebody's got some wisdom out there about this job that I didn't think of. That'd be great. Everybody'd like to share those things with each other. So that's the point of what we're doing here. So anyway, I hope everybody's having a great day, and we'll catch you on the next one.